Hello, everybody. I am coming to you from my kitchen. I was working on a little bit of meal prepping for the coming week here on a Saturday late afternoon and realized maybe you would find this helpful. So I am prepping my lunches for a few days for this coming week. And I used to do most of my food prepping on Sundays, and sometimes I find myself working for 2.5 hours in the kitchen, and that wasn't fun. So now I kind of try to get a jump start and do a little bit, maybe on Saturday, depending on my schedule. So what I have here, let me preface this by saying that focusing on protein and veggies, two biggest things with meal planning and nutrition. And I will say I'm not going to tout any one diet. I do really feel like everybody is different. Some people do well being vegan, vegetarian, or they have personal reasons for do that. Some people need to be gluten-free. Again, personal reasons, they feel better. They have an autoimmune issue. So in keto, I mean, there's so many things out there. I'm not going to tout one thing because they all have their pros and cons. Again, I don't think there's one diet for everybody. So let me start by saying that. But I think we can all agree focusing on vegetables, good thing, and whole foods, good thing. So, and I will add protein. I think protein is so important, and I think it's really underrated as far as the importance in our diets. So what we've got going on here is I actually bought just a bag of shredded cabbage. You can see from Trader Joe's. You can find that in almost every grocery store. It's already shredded. I just dump some out into each bowl. I've got 3 different bowls here, and I dump it out into 3 different bowls, about 100 grams in each one. And then I am cooking some ground meat here. I just use ground turkey or ground chicken, something that's a little bit leaner. Is better to keep the fats down, especially with this meal, because then I end up using some avocado mayo. I forgot to pull that back out for you guys. This is Primal Kitchen. It's avocado oil mayo. Primal Kitchen, really great ingredients, cleaner. And for this recipe, I use about 9 grams of it, so I do measure out on a scale. Because again, it has a good fat avocado oil, but we want to make sure we aren't overdoing the fats. So I do measure that out. Again, I used about 9 grams of that. And then I also added some Dijon mustard in a little bowl. And I added a little bit of water to kind of thin it out. And then chopped up celery. And basically we put all of this into the bowls here. As you can see, I've got several bowls here, all of my lunches going on. So again, we've got the shredded cabbage, cut up celery, our ground meat. I also like to add in, there's pickles in there and onion, just to add a little bit more flavor, some salt and pepper. And then again, with our mixture of the avocado oil mayo with the Dijon mustard mixed up, I mix that up in a separate bowl with some water and then kind of dump it in there into the bowl and mix it all up really good. So it's not, you can probably tell it's kind of thinned out. It's not like super duper creamy, but again, because it's really good to be mindful of like our fats, like our oils, mayo, any nut butters, because that can add up really fast. We know how easy, especially with peanut butters, nut butters, almond butters, to have big heaping tablespoon. And it's, again, good fats. Fats are good for us, but we just need to be careful with how much. So I hope that's helpful. I think I include everything. So this doesn't really take that long, especially if you thaw your meat ahead of time. And while the meat, I put it in the pan while that's cooking up. Then I'll be over here chopping up my celery, measure out, my cabbage. Again, it's already in the bag, shredded up. You could obviously always buy a head of cabbage. It's probably more economical. Chop that up on your own. And again, so we got the celery chopped up, the cabbage in there. Again, I like to chop up some pickles and onions for a little extra punch, some salt and pepper. And then we've got our ground meat. And I will say, if you're like vegetarian, vegan, just finding some other meat substitute, maybe even chickpeas would work well. again, something that's going to give you some protein. Super good idea. So this is like a pretty balanced meal. Again, it's I would say on the lower carb side, which is kind of good if you were watching your carbs. And it's high volume. I mean, you can see these bowls like are pretty huge. And I don't know the exact macros on this, but I would say with our ground meat and our fats and everything, I mean, we're looking at probably 300 calories, if that, for this meal. And again, that kind of volume, using things like celery, which again, I chopped up and used about 100 grams, and the shredded cabbage, about 100 grams of that. And then I did 4 ounces of meat, some onion, pickles, salt and pepper, 9 grams of our avocado mayo with some Dijon mustard. And you got a nice, big, healthy lunch there. So hope that is helpful, and I'm gonna share some more of what I do for meal prepping, planning, suggestions.